So listen, another thing that I saw come through on the wires during the week was that there's a company called Labat Africa here in South Africa. They've got a subsidiary called Labat Healthcare, and they've just acquired 75% stake in a Northern Cape-based cannabis company to the value of 15 million rand.
I saw that.
The company is called Leaf Botanicals. So what they've done is they've forged an exclusive distribution and supply agreement with a global hemp and CBD smokable brand, Ace and Axel, which we'll get to just now. What's the deal in the UK with cannabis and CBD products? Is it?
Yeah, you can buy hemp and cannabis type products.
Yeah.
I haven't really looked into where they are produced or manufactured. But yeah, I mean, it's still an illegal substance. It doesn't have a high rating, depending on the narcotic, there's different levels of legality or illegality.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's if you so that the hemp clothes or the hemp oil products, those are freely purchasable and
CBD oils.
Yeah.
CBD oils as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as I know.
I remember when I was in UK, even at that stage, which was like over 10 years ago, like most of the law enforcement, like whenever people were smoking weed and there was bobbies in the vicinity, the guys just closed their eyes and just
they've got bigger problems to solve. I mean, they are expected to disperse and stop whatever smoking's going on, but it's not illegal. It's not illegal to have it in your possession.
Yeah,
and if
as
you
long
use
as
it
it's
for your
like
own personal use at home, that's not the issue. But if you start selling it, that's when it becomes a criminal issue.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to grow it for the purpose of distribution as a narcotic. You can grow it under permit for other products, but then it gets a bit dicey, because how do you? I don't know of any companies who might have the permit. I haven't really looked into it, but theoretically, permitting for other things is permissible.
I can give you an interesting case, right? So in my previous neighborhood, there was an old guy, and he's like, I would say in his like late 60s, who was suffering from chronic pain, and he was obviously taking CBD products. He was smoking CBD. Well, he was smoking cannabis, right? To alleviate that pain, and he had quite a lot of cannabis, I would say. Well, what happened was maybe one of his neighbors or somebody basically logged the complaint to the police, and the police came, searched his place, and found like a 5 kg bag of cannabis, right? So obviously, like, it's very hard to justify, it's like 5 kg bag. I mean, it's most likely about, a meter, about half a meter size of bag of cannabis, right? Especially when it's dried out, to justify that for personal use. So obviously he got arrested, went to court, and then in court he actually proved that he's legally entitled to have those products, because like he had his couple of his neighbors, he had his spouse, his partner testified the fact that he's been suffering from chronic pain for the last 15 years, and that he's basically smoking that to alleviate that,
Yeah. So was that
there
before?
Are medicinal qualities that we should be leveraging.
But was that before or after the change in the legislation in South Africa?
It was actually before the change in legislation in South Africa.
Okay.
Oh, what's the legislation now?
Since 2018, you can grow and consume cannabis for your personal use. You're not allowed to sell, obviously. At the time that they brought out the ruling, they hadn't specified how much you're allowed to have. I did have the stats here, but of course, as I'm looking for them, I can't find the damn thing. But they did eventually come out with amounts that you were allowed to have. There is a certain amount that you're allowed to have in public. I think it's something like 60 grams of cannabis, marijuana.
Yeah.
You're allowed to carry on your body in public. You're not allowed to consume it in public, though. I think it was 600. I think it was 600 grams. You're allowed to have 600 grams of cannabis on your property for a 2-adult household, something like that. Yeah.
So the kids get nothing. Okay.
The kids get nothing. Well, you have to be above 18, eh? Yeah.
Depending
So
how
you
old your
smoke-
kids are, and your dog gets nothing as well.
Yeah, your dog
man,
gets
forget it.
nothing.
It's
Yeah.
discrimination. Let's start a revolt.
Yeah,
It's
so
not
they-
fair.
Okay, here it is. Here it is. So there's several licenses in South Africa that you can get now, right? And obviously the first license that we can talk about is the personal cannabis license. So you don't need to license to grow or use your own cannabis, as it has been decriminalized for a private adult now since 2018. Any form of trade in the plant, however, remains strictly illegal.
Mhm.
Right? The bill this is the cannabis bill, does recommend that the possession of up to 600 grams of dried cannabis per person, or a maximum, okay, here it is, I got it wrong. So 600 grams per person, or a maximum of 1.2 grams per household with 2 or more adults living in it. So that's 1.2 kilograms of cannabis that you're allowed to have, right? So
Yeah.
public possession is pegged to a maximum of 60 grams of dried cannabis, but public consumption still remains illegal. Police, however, have been known to still continue to arrest people in small groups. But anyway, that's probably just because, they're not 100% sure what's happening. And then you get a CBD license. So CBD products generally do not need a license to sell, so long as the daily dosage is below 20 milligrams. So all of a sudden, there's been a lot of sort of products that have been created or being, produced and whatever, and available, openly in shops, at markets, wherever, as long as they have less than 20 milligrams of CBD in them. Then
I think
it says,
even Discam actually has some CBD oils.
yeah,
like,
sure.
which is a pharmacy like chain, right?
Chain, yeah. So like there are lots of drinks that are infused with CBD. There's some alcoholic beverages. I mean, there was that cannabis beer that we used to have at Calexico.
Mhm.
Remember? And then the even dog biscuits that have CBD in it. And then
Does it have like a calming effect on pets? I must try
Probably.
it before
Probably.
like the next fireworks show. Like,
Yeah.
just experiment on my
you do an
dogs.
experiment. Yeah. So they say importing CBD is a little bit difficult at the moment because SARS it doesn't have a process to manage it. But obviously, locally produced CBD products, they say, are booming. Then you get a medical cannabis license, which is how to get a medical. Okay. So there are probably about 4 companies that I think that have registered. And the thing is that what they have to do to get that license is a whole spiel. It probably costs you. They said, I was reading it, to set up a commercial cannabis business. It's probably going to cost you about 5 million rand, right?
Yeah.
So what you have to have is you have to have a contract, because you can only export it. You're not allowed to sell to anyone in
Locally.
South Africa. So
Yeah.
what you have to have is you have to have a contract with an overseas company beforehand. Okay, so you have to have that. Then you have to have the facility already for them to come and inspect. And then there are a whole long list of things that you need to, criteria that you need to meet. And that's how you would get a commercial license, and that would be for medical cannabis. Yeah, and
That
then
is interesting.
and then there's
So
like
how
a little bit of a loophole,
Yeah.
right? Which is the cannabis club license. Okay, so this is some industrious companies and non-profits are using a loophole to trade by self-regulating. Private cannabis clubs and growers are establishing as formal businesses and voluntarily pay all applicable taxes and all that kind of stuff. So in other words, what they're doing is they're self-regulating. Even though there's no regulation around them, they are like being proactive about it. So these private clubs and franchises are targeted towards recreational users. And it's pretty much the sort of coffee shop vibe that they're doing there. And then the typical products that they sell is obviously the herb itself, concentrates, cannabis oils, and then also edibles, the gummies kind of thing. Yeah. So that's the state of the nation at the moment.
That is interesting. So, like, can I ask you something? Do you know if there's any, if there are any like
coffee shops? Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Serious? I've never heard or never knew that, there are.
Yeah.
And would this be like in like a Parkhurst type area where you have like a really upmarket hippie type of crowd, or would it be like I don't know, in town, or like
yeah, there was someone gave me the address of one of them, and I think it was in Rosebank.
Okay,
I haven't checked.
So like
I haven't checked recently,
hipster
but I mean,
upmarket
I'm going about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
About 2 years ago, someone gave me the address of one of these places.
So it's like a hipster upmarket place.
Yeah, hipster.
Okay.
I would imagine it was like a coffee shop, but you could buy weed there.
Yeah. Okay.
Sounds like Amsterdam.
Yeah. So just going back to.
just like I'm totally for decriminalizing, light consumption of cannabis products, because it's like, I think there's a lot more benefits in terms of raising taxes and bringing that industry, because let's just face it, in South Africa, it is an industry out of like a black or gray market type of scenario into like taxable market that could basically generate revenue that you can pump into like medical industry or whatever,
Yes. Yeah, I think, no, definitely. I do think it's an untapped market.
Yeah.
And us, but I mean, here's the thing. So this company that Labat Healthcare has partnered up with, which is this Ace and Axel, right? So what they do is they sell basically a cigarette, right, made out of hemp. So it's just CBD. There's no THC in it.
Okay.
Yeah. So let me see. I had it here. Of course, now I've lost my way. Okay.
Although just a brief comment, I do get an argument that like in a lot of poorer communities, like weed is used like as a gateway drug into heavier things.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
I don't know. I don't have a position on that, because
I mean, you could then call cigarettes. No, you could then call cigarettes as a gateway.
You could, and
alcohol as a gateway. Beer as a gateway to hardtack, or
no, for sure.
I don't believe that. I think that was just a marketing tactic for the youth to steer them away from using those kind of products. That's my opinion.
Yeah. So, well, I'm just presenting. There's that school of thoughts. There's obviously a school of thought which basically goes for decriminalization, legalization, and taxation of cannabis products. But like personally, I think like as a country we have like huge issue with crystal meth and cocaine. I don't know if you saw in the news. So last week, I checked on the news. There was some boat that was impounded and searched by SARS somewhere in the, I think it's in the Neisner area, right? So Indian Ocean. They busted the guys with 760 kilograms of cocaine.
Wow.
760 kilos. And that's just basically
what's the
one
street
boat.
What's
one
the street
boat
value?
Did not get through.
How
It's
many
like, I have
bitcoins is
no
that?
idea. I have no idea. I have no idea. But it's like you can imagine.
Yeah. Yeah, that's yeah. But I mean the
So you
other
say
the,
SARS did a raid.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
On a boat, eh?
On the boat.
On a
Yeah.
boat, yeah. Because remember, Lester, there at that place that we had the Prego rolls. Remember, the
Yeah.
ships would come in there at Durban, and then the
Yeah.
helicopter would fly out to the ship
Yeah.
before it came in the bay, and then they do. So yeah, SARS
Piloting,
always
yeah.
do sort of like imports and all that kind of stuff, customs when they arrive.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. Just going back to that company, which was Ace and Axel.
Yep.
So basically, what they've done is this Labat Healthcare has forged this distribution deal with Ace and Axel. So what they do is a premium grade hemp product designed for trendsetters. Can you check the marketing here? Trendsetters, pack leaders, and modern day mavericks who enjoy the gratifying taste and enjoyment of quality hemp pre-roll. They call it a pre-roll. Okay.
Wow.
So basically, it's a cigarette made from 100% pure American hemp. They're going to have to modify that because it's going to be coming from 100% pure African hemp. Ace and Axel delivers a rich, full-flavored smoke experience infused with healing wonders of natural CBD. The tagline being smooth and superior smoke for the health-conscious twist.
Yo.
Wow, this is
And you
like
must check the- you must
doctors in the 50s advertising menthol cigarettes.
Yeah, exactly.
That's marketing on steroids. That's marketing on steroids. That's like
Well, they've certainly tried their product. It seems
Yeah.
to be good.
Yeah, that was written after smoking one of their products. Yeah. So yeah, you must go have a look at their website because there they've got the biker guy on his motorcycle with his helmet. You know, so you can see who they're aiming at.
hipster crowd.
The hipster crowd, yeah.
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 Although you don't want to be smoking and riding, you know.
No. Well,
So
yeah.
they're called Vespa Gang, right?
The Vespa, yeah, the Vespa.
Desperados.
Yeah, Vesperados. That's it. Yes. Yeah. So anyway, so that's the deal there. Pre-roll, and apparently, because of this deal, these pre-roll cigarettes or smokables, they call them smokables, will be coming. Yeah, there's all this new terminology. Yeah, they will be coming to South Africa. Yeah?